going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. It is now week 6, y'all. 6 weeks into this NFL season. I know it came really fast, and we are now 8 days removed, and we should be able to finally put week 5 past us. I know it was terrible. It was bad. I got my week of negativity out my system, and I'm ready to look forward to new opportunities for our Washington Commanders as we head up to the Atlanta Falcons. We head down to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome to face the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta this time. We had them at home last year, beat them in a nail-biter on a goal line stop at the 1-yard line. Quarterback at the time was Marcus Mariota. They're rolling with the young boy that they drafted in the same draft we took, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, a guy who has yet to lose a home game in his entire life past high school. Never lost a home game in college at Cincinnati. 4-0 at home as a starter for the Atlanta Falcons. And while his numbers off the top don't terrify you because you've seen Desmond Ridder play a lot of meh football through the first few weeks of the season, he is coming off his best performance of the season with a 329-yard, 1 touchdown, no interception performance last week versus the Houston Texans. And I know there's going to be some of you who hear, oh, it was versus the Houston Texans. We're not allowed to say that as Washington fans because we tried to do that last week when I was talking about Justin Fields coming off his best performance the week before versus Denver. We're not allowed to overlook opponents, and we're not allowed to diminish anything a team does versus another team because we let a team that didn't win in 364 calendar days come in here and stomp us for the whole world to see on Jeff Bezos' app last week. But we're not delving, we're not looking in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward, and I'm going to talk about what Washington needs to do to get right because for far too long, we've been everybody else's elixir, everybody else's ailments to whatever they need fixed, and I'm tired of it. It's for a change. We need to get ourselves right. We need to make a scene out of another opponent. We need to embarrass somebody. We need to get from the opening whistle, take the lead, get an advantage, and keep it throughout. I'm tired of the same script. There's one of two scripts when you watch a Washington game. Script number 1, Washington falls behind early. Washington jaw-like claws back throughout the game. Game looks closer than it needs to be. Washington actually has a chance to come back, but the score looks closer than it actually is. Loss. You want to know what the other script for Washington is? Washington gets a 10 to 14 point lead very early. Scores on the first 2 drives of the game. Loses said lead, gains said lead back, loses the game. I'm tired of the script going one of those two ways. Or even if the second script, we win the game, it ends up looking nasty despite the fact that we got off to a big lead early. I'm tired of either seeing us get down big early or getting up big and then losing the lead. We're 4 years in now, Coach Ron. You put a sign on the locker room door that says, do your job. Do you do yours, my guy? Because inquiring minds would like to know what exactly your position consists of today, October 13th, 2023, because you've delegated everything to your coordinators, and we're wondering what you do. Like, I am still a little perplexed at hearing Ron said he didn't talk to the players after they were getting spanked 27-3 at halftime versus the Bears. He let the guys talk amongst themselves. What the hell does that even mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? I don't know. I have no idea what that means. But it starts with you, Ronald, you and company, because like I was telling y'all the other day in my video, the owners are going to take a pragmatic approach, and I don't see anybody getting hung to the fire. I don't see anybody getting fired in the middle of the season because we already know what's coming down once January 8th hits 2024. We already know what's happening. They're gonna play it out. They're going to let these guys coach it to the end, let them ride it to the tires pop. But the Falcons, I look at this game, and I look at it as very winnable game. On paper, I would say our roster's better. We have a better collection of talent than them. They have a better record right now, but this is a game you look at when the schedule comes out and says, Washington should win this game. Maybe the mistake is on me for looking at the schedule and ever thinking we're not the food on the schedule. Like, maybe I need to stop looking at other teams like they're food when the schedule comes out and start looking like, okay, they see us as food. Because when I talk to my friends who are Falcons fans, when I talk to my friends who are fans of other teams, they see us on the schedule and see us as a gimme. So how dare I look at the schedule and say, we should beat Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm looking at the Falcons, 3-2 right now. They have a chance to win their division. That NFC South is wide the fuck open this year. Who's the best team in the division right now? The Bucks with Baker Mayfield. Nobody's terrified of that. They do have a great passing attack, and their defense is like that Todd Bowles coach defense. But that defense is wide the hell open. And I believe if some things happen this weekend and Atlanta wins this game, I believe they're in sole possession of first place ending this weekend. So Atlanta has a lot to play for this week and a lot to play for this season. And Desmond Ridder, just like our quarterback, Sam Howell, is trying to prove on a weekly basis he's the guy there that Atlanta can build around for the long term. And as you can see with young quarterbacks, it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster of emotion. 2 weeks ago in London, Desmond Ridder looked like he didn't belong on the NFL. He looked terrible. He looked like an XFL quarterback given an assignment 24 hours before a game. It looked awful. Last week, he looked good versus Houston, versus a hot Houston team led by probably rookie of the year, C.J. Stroud, who was on fire on offense. They were able to put that fire out a little bit, strap them, and Desmond Ridder made winning time, crunch time plays, and Young Wei Koo, their very clutch kicker. Shout out to my fantasy kicker, by the way. Absolute baller. So we got Atlanta coming up on Sunday. My confidence level, let me know what yours is in the comments. My confidence level is like a 5. Put it right in the middle because we're mid boys. We're middle of the pack ass team, and I see Atlanta also as a middle of the pack ass team. So this game is probably going to be nasty. It's probably going to be ugly. It's probably going to look similar to that monsoon game that was played at FedEx Field last year when Atlanta came to town, where it took a deflection on the 2-yard line for us to get the W. I expect a little of the sort. A game that was won by our quarterback at the time, Taylor Heineke, who is now the backup quarterback in Atlanta. Wouldn't it be fucked up if somehow Taylor got in this game on Sunday? I know a lot of Washington fans want to see it because they're still in love with the guy, and I love the story of the guy. You know, it would be very painful if they get us up out of here and blow us out and are able to put Taylor in the game later. That shit would add insult to injury, and I would be an absolute mess on Sunday. But back to what's actually going to be on the field and taking place on Sunday. Bijan Robinson versus Brian Robinson. The tale of the B-Robs. Their B-Rob versus our B-Rob. First round B-Rob versus third round B-Rob. Bijan, over 300 yards rushing, 5.4 yards a carry so far, about 130 yards receiving. Both of his career touchdowns so far, I believe, are through the air. I believe he has 2 receiving touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns yet. But just you wait. What Alexander Hamilton say, just you wait. Whenever somebody comes into a game with a 0, or they haven't done this since, you already know Washington going to answer the call. Bijan going to get a rushing touchdown on Sunday. You know what? My biggest fear in this Atlanta game is Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, freakazoid, top 5 pick as a tight end. Never really agreed to take a tight end that high in the draft, but this guy was such a freak coming out of Florida. But they haven't found a way to consistently get him the ball since he's got there, and that's been a product of multiple things. Scheme, the quarterbacks. Kyle Pitts will somehow look like the freakazoid that he was drafted to be, and Desmond Ridder will somehow find that connection with him. They will troubleshoot their connection versus Washington on Sunday because everybody gets it right versus us for whatever reason. We're giving up 32 points a game. The Falcons are only giving up 19 points a game. Something got to give at some point. Both quarterbacks on both sides are one of the trickier evaluations in the league. Our guy, Sam Howell, Airwolf, love him. Shows poise, but also shows too much poise. He takes forever to get rid of the ball sometimes. Sacked the league high 30 times in 5 weeks, and more than half of those belong to the quarterback. But at the same time, when he's throwing the ball on a consistent basis, it's consistently accurate. The ball placement's good, and he doesn't leave too much to be desired on the field. It's such a tricky evaluation with both guys because Desmond Ridder's numbers never look terrible, but he looks awful. He doesn't always pass the eye test, and Sam passes the eye test and somehow makes a lot of mental lapses. It's very confusing when it comes to these young quarterbacks. You just got to live with the ebbs and the flows of the roller coaster environment that takes place around them because it's crazy. The offensive line on first watch looks bad, but the offensive line is not playing as bad as it Like, our line is better than the Falcons' O-line, but we've given up more sacks than them. So it's like, give or take what you – this is going to be a confusing game on Sunday. I have no idea which way this game is going to go. The team looks better when I predict them to lose. So I'll give you the prediction right here before we continue to ramble on a little bit more. I'm going to predict a 24-16 loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Hear me out. We gotta play mental gymnastics as fans here. I need to psych these boys into being good again. I need to psych these boys into looking like they looked up at Lincoln Financial Field 2 weeks ago when we went up and we played the Philadelphia Eagles and took them to the motherfucking ringer in the link. Whenever I predict they're going to lose, they play better. I'm predicting us to lose to the Atlanta Falcons 24-16. I wanted to say 24-20, but I don't know. I feel like this game's going to be messy. I feel like there's going to be some defensive touchdowns. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm going to predict an L and hope for the best and pray for the best. But right now, I'm in a wait and see. I'm tired of drinking the Kool-Aid with this team to be inevitably let down. It's a revolving cycle that happens every year. I always get sucked back in, and I'm always inevitably disappointed. I need them to prove that shit to me. We have 2 very winnable games coming up at Atlanta and at New York, who is an absolute mess right now without their quarterback, without a lot of things, and cannot score offensive touchdown. If we go 0-2 in this stretch versus the Falcons and the Giants, there are big problems, and Josh Harris and company may be forced to force their hand and make a move a lot sooner than they expected to. But here's how I'll say the game plays out Sunday. I think it's going to be 24-16. I think one of the teams will score a defensive touchdown. I think it's going to be a lot of running back involvement. I think whoever edges out the other in the Bijan versus Brian Robinson battle, I think that'll win the game. I don't think anybody's going to air it out over the other one because the Falcons actually play very good pass defense. Very good pass defense. Love their safety duo with Richie Grant and Jesse Bates. AJ Terrell. I like the Falcons defense. I let their pieces up front, Calais Campbell and Grady Jarrett. That's a stout defense. And we're not allowed to criticize their defense. They give up 19 points a game. We give up 32, over 400 yards, yada, yada, yada. It looks bad. The secondary of Washington. If you can't get right versus this receiving core, you're not going to get right, period. You're not going to get right, period. All they have is Drake London. And Drake London's not lighting up the world. A good game for him is like 70 receiving yards and a touchdown. Mac Hollins. They just traded for Van Jefferson. If y'all let Van Jefferson get off the train from L.A. and in 5 days come on the field and cook us, there is no hope for this barbecue chicken-ass secondary. We're going to find out what we got in young guys. Second-round pick who has not touched the field yet, Quan Martin. Second-year safety, Percy Butler, with the absences of Jeremy Reeves and Derek Forrest. We're going to see what these dudes are made of. I saw Emmanuel Forbes talking to Scott Abraham in the locker room yesterday. That boy looks like he's lost all his luster. The glow don't even hit the same. Get your confidence back, Emmanuel Forbes. Line up Forbes versus one of these bum-ass Falcons receivers and tell him to go to work because I need to see that glow in him again. Don't worry about what fans are talking about, what media is talking about. That's what they're supposed to do when you're getting beat like a drum. Like Darius Slay told you on Twitter, it started off rough for him. He's an all-pro corner now. Look at Trevon Diggs. He used to get beat like a drum. He still kind of does get beat like a drum, but he makes so many plays that he comps for it. And he's got $100 million for it. The book is not written on none of these young guys that are a disappointment right now. But we need to see more out of them. I need to see more out of our guys. Eric Bieniemy, I beg of you, get something out of our starting 2 receivers. Why is Terry McLaurin averaging 50 yards a game? And why is Jahan Dotson, why is there an APB out for his presence on a football field? Why can't we get our starting 2 receivers in action? They have like a combined 400 yards through 5 weeks. That is terrible. That's awful. What are we doing? Why are we targeting Logan Thomas more in a game than our actual good weapon? What are we doing? Why are we prioritizing getting the ball to De'Ami Brown and Byron Pringle like Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson don't exist? Better balance on the offensive side in general. Every time EB speaks to the media, It's enticing. He dazzles us. He knows how to conduct a press conference. He gives us the beautiful intro and then says, I'm all ears, and then continues to captivate us for the next 15 minutes. But what I need to see EB do is call a complete game from start to finish. There's no such thing as perfect football, but I done seen every team in the league have a complete game. Everybody has a complete game. Everybody forces turnover. Everybody is capable of blowing somebody out one time. We haven't shut a team out since my birth year of 91. Birthday is tomorrow, by the way. I'll let your boy. But I want to see this team get after an opponent and go for the jugular. Off them, step on them, foot on their necks for the duration of the game. I would love to see us go in and handle an opponent. I don't see why we cannot do this with the Atlanta Falcons. Do I expect us to do it? No, because this team has to show me it's capable of putting an opponent away before I predict us blowing out an opponent again. You will not, for the duration of this season, see me predict a double-digit or blowout victory. Won't do it again. I've learned my lesson. Very winnable game coming up versus the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. Give me your score predictions for Sunday's matchup. I got 24-16 Atlanta. I'm only predicting Atlanta to try to reverse psych and get the juju and the karma right back on the other side. I should be manifesting victory, but the team plays better when I predict them to lose. So I'm going in with no expectations, feet up, chilling on a Sunday the day after I turn 32 years old. 24-16 Atlanta. We hoping it goes the other way. That's all I got for right now. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Go give me a dub for my birthday, please. Until next time, deuces.